Hello everybody, my name is Alan Lloyd. To return home to the fortune, there is a figure in the sun. But if the sun bursts to tears to heaven based upon the machine, it will all lay itself into the third performance. The third performance of one network is the oil wave of the machine. The machine is bow 2 F315. The bow 2 F315 by the border is a thick moon to develop the third and fourth and the fifth way in to control itself into network 5. If the oil wave is 3 on time, 12 on time and 4 on time by the border, the fifth moon will develop the third technology. In the consumption of the Pirana, it will be listening out the door to heaven based upon the machine. The machine is bow to F315. The border of the fifth moon will develop the third technology in relation to the stock market, because in that day it is the co-finder. Each co-finder will execute itself into law to heaven based upon the machine. The machine is bound to F315. In relation to the third development of technology, it will position itself into the acceptance. Once upon a time, there is no one in to look for the code. It is B5F218. The B5F318 is a co-function of the Pirana to releasing out the door to heaven based upon the machine. If the machine is bound to F315 by the border, the thick moon will switch off to the mode of the Anana. In that day it is 10324. The 10324 for Dr. T. Sandra is the realignment of time for the sun, because it may or may not convince itself into the co-function to execute the line wave. Each line wave is the co-finder to find the claw to execute itself into heaven in the machine. The machine is B128. In that time, Dr. T. Sandra, it is a confused, yes. But perhaps in a matter of time, when you do that, it is the equation of the formula. Each formula will send the sun through, because in that day, when it does that, it will all lay itself into the third way in. The co-finder to execute the law of heaven based upon the machine is a transcode system. Each transcode system is Formula 1 to co-view itself into the day of 1034, because in time, when it does that, it will allay the co-function. Yes, that's the word. So when it does that, it will click them into the prefix. Each prefix is co-viewing itself into heaven based upon the machine. If the machine is BEF315 by the border, the third moon will switch off to the mode of the Anana. In that day it is 10324. The 10324 is design day 10 for the interlude technology for the position of the army for Sector 3. If they decide to do so in relation to the co-viewing by the exporting degree, it will propaganda into the realignment of time for the sun. Each propaganda will send the sun through to mass the productivity, because in the stock market, for the frequency to exchange itself into the work of 1 on 8, 1 on 8, 1 on 8, and 1 on 4 by the border of the fifth moon, it will in turn the inlay of technology. The technology will position itself into the acceptance. Once upon a time, there is no one in to look for the code. It is B5F218. The B5F218 is design day 10 for the interlude of technology, which will position itself into the area. The area is 010, 03, 09, 08, 01 for the prefix of the Kakshkanan. See? It's the word processor to know how to quiz the show. When you quiz the show, it is the realignment of time for the sun, because the sun will burst into tears to heaven based upon the machine. The machine is bound to F318. The door to heaven based upon the machine is the conclusion of the element will send the sun through. If it bursts to tears to heaven based upon the machine, it will orate itself into the third way in. The conclusion of the element will send the sun through. For JB Hi-Fi, the impacting degree is the formula 2 to actually inlay the material. Each inlay of the material or its material will transcode the system into Harvey Norman. The design datum for Harvey Norman is a transcode system of the formula to position itself into the acceptance. And it works because in the computer system, it will return home to the co-viewer to inlay the third, the fourth, the ninth, the fifth realm to develop the third technology. The spell checker will measure itself into the computer system to formulate into one, to copy the tissue paper, and to realign itself into the stock market. Each stock market will share the sun through. The sun bursts to tears to heaven based upon the machine. The machine is B2F315. In relation to the 30 rocks of the form, it will position itself into the area, and in that day it is 10324. The design datum is the interlude. Each interlude is a mass productivity to program. Not program, program. First word is an equation, because in that time it is Tashkana. Okay, I'm really happy with the words I have really been processing, but relaxation will help you guys to understand thinking plots, or the thinking line, or the thinking of thoughts, or the thinking. Because in that way, you will send the sun through, Dr. Carlosino. It is the mass productivity. Because each mass productivity for Dr. Carlosino is a co-viewer to inline itself like that into the event horizon or horizontal apex. In the apex of the horizontal line, it will populate into the third subney. In the subney of knowing how to cook on a better days of life, it will send the sun through. Each sun will burst to tears to heaven based upon the transplant for the program. In that day it is 10324. The 10324 is the design datum for the interlude, as each interlude is subject to worm itself into the cake shop or the reporter in relation to knowing how to cook on the better days of life. Most of my videos has not been deleted, is in a different channel. Yes. But anyway, in relation to the third sound of the subject, it will continue. I will continue each subject in a different channel. I don't know when, probably years, until one of this channel is finished. But anyway, in relation to the order of the dimension, it will formulate into one. The one is 3CF315. In the Melbourne of the Falconang, it is the Kokakatang. So, in that way, the word processor will retime itself into the door to heaven based upon the machine. The machine will orate itself into the third, the fourth, the fifth moon to divert itself into Dr. T. Sandra, to propagate into Carlosino and divert into this way, which is the fifth star of the moon, or the moon of the star. So, quiz show in relation to word processing, the progressive manner to know how to inlay the third technology and to position itself into the door, because in each door it is the ikana. Particularly, the understanding of the life cycle will return home to the fortune. Each fortune will propagate itself, see, into the way in to learn how to do so. In that way, quiz show in relation to the democracy, it will implement Namo Adi